Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTuber Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Reserved Seats. I want to start off by saying hello to everyone following along on X and the Green Machine. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Already into chat, channel member JPRPH1. Host of Friday Night Last Call. Co-host of Geeky Geezers. Co-host of Live from Sparkwood in 21. Channel member something Pacelli Darkside. I don't know. Bringing the Geeky Geezers raid. Friend of the channel, Usarn G, who I know had to take an early night. So please get some rest. Catch up with you later on. The Horror King. Good to see you. Says, I'm just here to post a terrible joke before the live stream starts. A man came to my house today asking for a donation for the local swimming pool, so I gave him a glass of water. Well, yeah. I would expect nothing less from you. Faithful Blue Ranch channel member, that bird woman of YouTube. Watch out for her second channel, Fluff Chick Productions. It's Connie Cleary. She of the smoldering avatar. My co-host on Live from Sparkwood in 21. Host of Thursday Things. Co-host of Friday Night Last Call. Honorary Geeky Geezer. Netters Network. Former guest John Doe Juggalo in the house. Please check out his channel. Jane Doe Letty, good to see you. Sting, Debbie Reynolds, and God. FKHC 2005, sometimes known as North Fairfax, sometimes known as Tim. My guest is waiting patiently backstage. Patiently. Still waiting. I can do this all night, you know, and I may. It's my channel. What are you going to do to me? I am the megalomaniacal boy king of all of Babylon. And pretty soon you will all bow down before me, or Grok, whichever comes first. You know, I've almost been afraid to ask, because I've been working on a project and I've been using Grok, and I almost want to ask, you know, will AI take over? And I'm afraid that the answer will be yes. In 339 days, 17 hours, 16 minutes, and 27 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my guest for this evening, Wilkie's Movies and Music.
Hello, sir. How we doing?
Oh, well, we're alive.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
been quite a week.
I was going to say, that was
Quite
quite an intro,
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah. Well, I gotta keep people moving past, you know, like the first 30 seconds. Or
that's right. That's right. You got to do what you got to do.
I get it. And speaking of audiences, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for making the previous episode from 2 weeks ago the not only the most watched episode of this series, but the third most watched video on my channel, period, in the entire 3 years that I've been on YouTube. So thank you very much to the audience who I haven't scared away yet, who continues to come back. Thank you to the new subscribers over this weekend. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to make you all very proud someday. I'm trying. Hey, I'm sorry.
It's all you can do is try, right?
Okay. So, all right. So, oh, yes, we also have Real Wade Nation gaming clips.
Nice.
Good to see you, sir. Connie says, LOL, I thought we were in the Matrix. The Matrix has you. Yes. All right. So, Mr. Wilkie's Movies and Music.
Yes, sir.
Corey.
Yes.
If that is in fact your real name, sir.
I can confirm Corey is my real name. So
I forward the motion that it is this man who is responsible. He is the imposter. No.
I am the imposter.
He is the imposter. Hello to Enigma Severus. Don't worry, you're not late. We just got started. All righty. So, how did you come to join the our internet Manson family that is YouTube?
Well, it was one thing that when my channel, I dig. I mean, I go all over the place and go pretty random a lot of times too. But I always loved watching movies and listening to music and talking to people about them. A lot of the family members around me in the household, or friends around me too, enjoy them, but didn't always care to talk about them as much as I would want to talk about them. So I started joining other people's live streams, jumping in their chats, and I still do that a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. Then I got to the point where I was like, it'd be kind of fun to give it a try myself. Originally, I thought I was just going to go and do a podcast. I bought this microphone I got right here, and I always joke about it with people that I literally had it sitting in the box for about 6 months after I bought the thing, because then I got cold feet. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then, like I said, I was getting involved with so many other people's being in the chats of their live streams that I just took the plunge and went and got on YouTube. I don't know. Didn't really think about it. Maybe I should have thought some things through a little bit more before I did it, but here I am now. So, and I'm so glad I did. I'll say that I've had so much fun, met a lot of great people like yourself. It's fun to hang out and talk about anything. I'm one of those that I probably just talk a little too much, but I have fun meeting new people, getting on here and doing it, and I have a lot of fun doing the live streams.
Thinking things through? No.
I know, right?
That's not allowed on YouTube.
I know.
It's not necessary.
Yep.
No. Just fly by the seat of our pants.
Exactly.
That's what I do here.
Has the most fun that way. But
Indeed.
Yeah, no, so it's been a fun experiment so far. I'm enjoying it so far.
Indeed. All right. So, that was it for the show. Good night. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. It's okay.
You can't let me out that easy.
He's trying to be funny, folks. I know this man will attempt to escape. He's good at that. We call him the escape artist for a reason. Yeah. Anyway. So, damn it. Enigma says, Corey did collect all those movies in the background. Just have a nice setup for the white tea. Well,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's the whole point. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say I've collected for quite a long time. People have. I don't have a gigantic collection. It's more than some and a lot less than others, but I'm happy with it. Had it for a long. But I will say, for the YouTube channel, I did pull them from other rooms where I had them stored and figured I would, hey, if I had them around the house, I might as well get them in the shot somewhere and be better than my blank wall that I had for a while.
Right on. Well, I'm in the process right now of kind of going through my collection, seeing what I have, because, well, not only that is I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put everything, because there are some things that I may necessarily have to get rid of.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've come to find is that I've doubled up. I
Yeah.
have like a whole stack
Yeah.
of like, how do I wind up with multiples of certain, and I'm not just talking about, something like, for example, like I've done with Blade Runner, where I've gone from the VHS
Mm.
to DVD to, then that boxed set. And I know there's a Blu-ray, which I don't believe I have.
Yeah.
And whenever that comes out in 4K, I'm going to pick that up.
Yep.
But I'm not just talking about that. I'm just talking about forgetting what you have and then buying it again.
Mm.
And
Yep.
so, it's like I have to get everything into some kind of an order. I've moved. I've got all of in the room I'm in right now. I have all of the 4K. I've got all of my Blu-rays, but I have probably 2 or 3 rooms where I have regular DVDs and VHS, and I'm like,
Okay.
that's what I have to go through.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point to where I need to catalog all of this stuff, because I've got to figure out what to do with it all. Yep. Because I mean, I live in a pretty decently sized house, but I'm feeling like everything's starting to close in on me a little bit.
It starts filling up.
It's like, yeah. So it's like everything just, it kind of feels cluttered.
Oh, sure.
And I don't want that, Yeah. And, I'm getting to where I'm setting things down and I'm not finding them again. And it's not just my own forgetfulness. It is the fact that I've got a lot of crap in one room, and I don't need it all in one room.
Oh,
and that's the thing. Hello to Papa
Goss.
Papa Goss.
How we doing?
Okay, thank you. And hello to our man from the future, Sashi.
Hello, Sashi.
All right.
But I think you were expressing something that a lot of collectors, whether movies or vinyl records or whatever you're into, I think you always get to the point where you start filling up space a lot faster than you think you're going to. But then I think that's a common problem where I've ran into that too, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I already have that one. I buy a lot of used movies too. I don't mind doing that at all. It helps get some more in the collection, and some really good movies, but at a cheaper price, where I can maybe bring in a few more of them than I would normally do. But I've had some of those times where I'm like, oh, that was a good deal on that one, and I get home and I go to put it on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, I already have that one. So I did start using an app a little while ago that you can scan in the barcodes of your movies, and so you can go through and search it. But I still have fallen victim of buying a duplicate before even having that. So
yeah, I'm in the process of doing that right now, actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's got to be done, because I'm getting to the point where even I don't remember what I have anymore. And so I'm sure I've got stuff I haven't even watched.
Oh, I definitely,
my collection. Have. I think that's a lot of people. And then you get into the wait. Why do I have that again? You're like,
absolutely.
like I have this movie called Against the Dark.
I don't know that one.
And it is a vampire movie.
Okay.
With Steven Seagal.
Okay, I have to look this one up. I have never
Basically, if you ever wondered what a ultra low budget, probably shot in Bucharest or some damn where, version of Blade would be,
I'm gonna do some search. I'm gonna do some searching after our live stream. I'm gonna track that one down.
Yeah.
It
So
sounds fun. Sounds like fun time.
I I have that. I have Supernova, even though it's god awful, but I like the cast.
Okay.
Um, I've got this. I've got this movie that I had bought it because I really wanted to see it, and I was hearing a lot about it at the time. It's been years, and I never sat down and watched the whole thing. It's this movie called Five Across the Eyes,
Oh, I don't know that
and
one
it's a
either.
horror movie that's done all in one shot.
Okay.
And with kind of it's kind of, it's this group of women. They get forced off the road after this kind of road rage incident, but the twist is that the would-be killer coming after them is another woman,
Okay.
and she is just this complete nutcase. And I saw like a few minutes out of it, and for whatever reason, I never got around to sitting down and watching the whole thing. And
Okay.
that's another thing that happens
Oh, for sure.
is there always seems to be these movies where I either come in at the same time every time, or something always stops me from finishing the movie.
Yep.
There's a Guillermo del Toro movie called Kronos,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
and I always get up to the part where the old man is having to fight on the roof with Ron Perlman.
That's a for
But
that's
something always stops me. I have no idea what. I assume he takes out Ron Perlman first because he's the villain, but
yeah.
I don't know what happens after that. So if
Sure.
anybody knows what happens in like the last 15 minutes of Kronos, do not tell me. Because I don't
You
want to know
still need to
until I
finish it.
actually sit down and watch the damn movie.
Yeah.
Connie says, I know what Deleted is talking about. She's a complete nutter. Yeah, I got that idea. Yeah, just off of that few minutes that I saw. Yeah, that's one that I need to sit down and watch. And this is a question that Wade has.
Yeah.
Says, hey, does Wilkie love the G.I. Joe 1985 series?
Absolutely. I grew up with that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh, so did
absolutely.
I. Yeah.
Yeah. Watched a lot of that. I had a lot of well, I didn't have a ton of the toys. I grew up on a farm and we just didn't have a, you know, ton of money, but every once in a while I could go get a GI Joe guy and I don't know. I always had fun playing with it, watching it. And then I always we were actually joking about that not too long ago. I was with my mom and I said I always joked that we'd go into this small department store kind of place that in a small town that was near us, and I would just, as a little kid, elementary school age, whatever, I was always would do my little window shopping where I just ask her, like most of the time I wouldn't get anything, but I was like, can I just go look down like the GI Joe aisle, and I just
Mhm.
kind of drool and do window shopping for a little bit, and
Oh, absolutely.
but
Yeah.
but no, yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I have not watched it for a while. I've kept on eyeing getting the a DVD set of it, but I have not yet. But yeah, I
Mhm.
grew up watching that all the time.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, I have some of the DVDs. And when you go and get some of the toys,
Hmm.
there's a couple of them that actually come with a DVD
Oh, okay, nice.
from the series. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um,
I did run across. I think it must have been like Hasbro
mhm.
YouTube channel or something like. I don't know if they do it all the time, but I ran across it just randomly a while back, and they were just doing a marathon of
24/7.
Yep, of
Yeah.
GI Joe, and
Yeah.
I flipped it on, and we were doing a bunch of stuff around the house, but I had it on in the background. I'd stop and watch it for a little bit, and then keep on doing stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
it was kind of fun. But yeah, they were doing a big old marathon of it.
Absolutely. Uh, uh, Let's see. Sashi says, my source system is chaos. By starting with chaos, it's easier when you start having a lot of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Qapla' to our resident Klingon, Mark Malnikoff, just got off the shuttle from Uropenti. Right on. Enigma says, I mean, that might be worth the money. You may have the only copy of that. I do have a few movies that I'm pretty sure I'm probably the only one who owns it.
You never know. Like something can happen where then all of a sudden it's going for big bucks on eBay or something.
Might be the only one. Yeah. All right. Let's see. There were a couple of other questions. English says, Corey, give an example where you were passionate about wanting to share something about a movie and it sparked in your mind. I need to share this stuff on YouTube.
Oh, I mean, I think I always loved movies. I was a daydreamer. So like that's probably where I loved G.I. Joe so much, because you'd have like the toys and you used your imagination a lot. Like I said, I didn't have all the huge big sets and big vehicles and everything, but I'd have the guys, and you get a couple friends, or even if it was just by myself, and you're using your imagination a lot. So anyway, with movies, it seems like I can usually just get really sucked into the story and get into it. And I think a lot of times it's just the emotions that movie brings to you and wanting to be able to talk to somebody else about it. So whether you're coming out of there just happy or you're sad or angry or what, I mean, it's just wanting to talk to somebody else. And then it's also fun, I found, doing this, where we start talking, digging into a movie on, some people have different experiences in their lives than you do, and they come away with something completely different than what that you felt or you thought about it. And I never have a problem with somebody thinking something differently about a movie than me, whether they liked it, disliked it, or just pulled something completely different from it when they watched it. But it's also interesting to hear that feedback of how it affected other people, same or different.
Enigma also says, it would be funny if Corey explained to his family, okay, we have to move out of the master bedroom. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I need a background.
Yeah, I might get a little pushback on that one. So I have my little office. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
G.I. Joe. It's just G.I. Joe was actually created because Star Wars was taking over the toy market. Yes, and G.I. Joe was produced in order to create toys. They were all, a He-Man, all of that. It was Transformers, Mask, what have you. That was all. They were all cartoons for toys or video games. Dragon's Lair had an animated series.
That
Pac-Man had an animated series.
Yeah. But when you said Mask, I hadn't heard about. I hadn't heard Mask in a long time. So
that just popped into my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she says, never finished watching Titanic. Nobody tell me what happens to the show.
Nice. That's funny.
It grew wings and it flew away. All right. Let's see. If there were any other questions? That's not the Kronos this Klingon is looking for. Saw it, won't tell you the ending. Thank you. It's free on Tubi. And I have a copy, I think. Pretty sure I do. I just never got around to sitting down and actually finishing it before.
I'm guilty of that. I have movies that I really want to get around to watching that are sitting on my shelf. There's only so many hours in the day, and then we're doing things like this too, so
yeah,
which is fun.
What?
So don't get me, I don't mean in a bad way, but you only have so many hours in the day to do
fine.
things. And
fine. Like, go watch your silly videos. Go. Don't do my show. Fine. No.
Thanks a lot for
it. So, but yeah, I mean, and that's something that a lot of YouTubers have brought up, not just on my shows, but on other shows. It's having the time. And one of the reasons why you will see some YouTubers, and I've started to do this, scheduling things out sometimes a month in advance and trying to decide what you're going to do the next month is so
Right.
you can plan around shows and,
Hmm.
come up with something last minute if somebody has to cancel, you know,
Right.
because, a lot of people think, I mean, there are certain members of the press, let's say, who think that we're making a lot of money off of this and we're rich and we're grifters and and it's on we're cheating people out of their money and all. No, we're regular people. We have jobs, we have homes to take care of, we have
Yes.
errands to run, things to do. Yeah,
Yep.
and are there channels where they're making enough money to sustain themselves just off of what their channel's doing? Sure, and more
Sure.
power to them.
Hmm.
But when you have channels that are on the level that ours are on, it's just we kind of have to work for a living still,
Oh, I,
you know,
oh,
and
I'm just a little tiny one. I don't
yeah,
make anything off of this, so it's
no,
just for the fun of it at this point. So
I make enough to basically keep StreamYard running. That's pretty
yeah,
much it, you
hey,
know.
it sounds like a win to me.
But yeah, but other than that, and it's the people who have families, who have kids. I don't know how
Hmm.
they do it. You know,
Yeah. So, and that's
um,
probably why I didn't. Maybe that was one thing that kept me from doing it earlier too, just like what you're saying there.
mm,
But I'm to the point now. But my kids are both grown and
mhm.
out of the house. So that last, I mean, so I started before my daughter was completely out of the house, but she'd get into the age, where I don't know, they're more independent. They're driving themselves around. They're doing all that stuff, and it, yeah, I could definitely see having younger kids that it would really, because we were always running around to soccer games or band concerts or something when and always enjoyed them. But yeah, you just would, I just didn't, probably wouldn't have had time to do anything like I'm doing right now with it, with YouTube.
Troy says, "Ever heard of a film called Secret of the Clown?" I'm not recommending it, but I have two copies of it. Why? Because there was a variation on the cover. Why do I have it at all? I knew the clown. Yeah, he's talked about that. That he knew the actor from that film.
Oh, that's
So
fun. Yeah, that's fun.
yeah,
But yes, I also have that urge once in a while where there's a different release comes out and it's the same movie, but sometimes it's hard to turn down a new artwork or steel book that comes out, and I try not to do a ton of that just because there's only so much money and other movies I want to get. So sometimes I prioritize getting something new in that I don't have before. We always say like double dipping, like buying another version of the same movie, but I definitely do it.
yeah. I think Five Across the Eyes is probably the most out of left field random movie that I own,
Yeah.
um, or at least one of them anyway. Um, and then Connie's like, "Oh, I know it." Okay, it's good. All right.
You're
I
the
thought
other
it was.
one. No.
Oh, you're the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're the two people who know what this
Yeah,
movie is.
exactly. The two copies that were sold. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go.
Uh, I gotta check it down now. I wrote down. Yeah, I always keep a pen and paper next to me when I'm doing any of these live streams on mine or somebody else's channel, and because it never fails, whether the host or people you have on or people in the comments, there's always some good suggestions that come out or ones like this that I've never heard of before, and I'm just kind of curious to check it out, see if I can find something for it, even just on a streaming or something. But
And good night to the Horror King.
good night. Thanks
Horror
for
King is in
hopping in.
Ireland, so it's probably
Oh,
either very early or very late there.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enigma says, based on what Corey shared about wanting to share with others on the influence the movie gave you. That's what my father and I would do after
Mm.
he passed. I found this YT community shortly after.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to have something that you can, it'll never be this Same. There's people that in my life as well that always enjoyed sharing things like that, conversations with. And um, if you're no longer able to have that, you definitely have that void. But it's fun that you're able to find, like you said, this YouTube community where you can have some of that enjoyment to talk and share your passions and your experiences with movies you've watched.
Sashi says the re-released Mask toy Switchblade has been renamed to Attack Helicopter or something like that. Probably didn't want to use Switchblade.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
they rethink some things from the that were
Certainly
released
not
in.
in the UK anyway. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I did not have much for Mask, but I remember watching the cartoon of it. But I can't remember. There was the semi. I think that was the one I had. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm good at getting sidetracked, but that's
No, that's
I had
I
not.
don't even know why I said that. That was so
I
out
don't.
of left field for me. It's just like but I remember there was an animated series of it. So
Oh,
that's
absolutely,
where
yeah.
I
And I hadn't
went.
heard it forever, so that's what's funny. As soon
Yeah.
as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that
Now
one.
I'm racking my brain. What's it about? I do remember the title, not anything else. Okay. As John Doe says, during this one, doing this one video a week is hard enough as a family guy with multiple jobs and whatnot. Yeah, this is part
Oh,
of what I'm.
absolutely.
Yeah, part of what I'm talking about. And I know people who do want to go on and want to do more content, but can't because they just can't fit it into their schedule.
Oh, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I know Jeff um,
Mm-hmm.
knows all about that. It's hard to fit it all in. But...
Says, if Clown come to your birthday party, that would be cool if he did. In my retail career, I've met plenty of clowns. Yeah, I believe it. Now, he and his wife are cosplayers at cons, like Never and Me. Cool.
Oh, cool.
UK equals ban everything. Yeah, it's kind of looking that way, man. I mean, they can't even meme, without getting arrested out there. I mean, it is insane. I have a couple of the and then she died. No. I have a couple of the Mask comics.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, comics. That's another thing I've got to sort through because I'm starting to lose track of what I've got there. And I used to have a lot when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then I made the mistake of trying to sell them and kind of got ripped off there.
Oh,
Lesson learned.
yeah.
But for some reason, G.I. Joe number 47 stuck in my head.
G.I. Joe 47.
And the whole issue is basically Snake Eyes has gotten Storm Shadow. He's kind of convinced Storm Shadow to come over to, if not to Joe's side, at least to his.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all on this island, and there's this huge kind of Omaha Beach style battle going on.
Okay.
And there's this explosions left, right? The whole thing is this action straight through. And it gets to where it looks like the Joseph beating Cobra back, victory in hand, and then Baroness whips out a machine pistol. This is the Storm Shadow. You've betrayed us for the last time. Just empties in the Storm Shadow, and that's where it ends. And I'm like, and that became kind of like my my holy grail for a long time.
Okay.
And then I moved to a town where I actually had access to a comic book store again,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally found it.
Okay.
So I have G.I. Joe 47 again,
Nice.
And
Yes. Kind of go
yeah.
back and so you had it at one time.
lost
got rid
it
of it,
and
and then or lost it or
got
whatever,
it
but then you
back.
had a chance to get it back. That's cool. I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah. Sashi said Mask later had a crossover with G.I. Joe. They released the main protagonist, Matt Tracker, as a G.I. Joe figure. Cool. Yeah, that's the thing when you start doing either crossovers or you start getting into what I refer to as like the second tier characters, like with Transformers,
Mm-hmm.
all of the new characters after they killed all the OG characters off in the first 15 minutes of the movie. It's almost
Yeah.
like I am watching two different movies at
Yeah.
this point, you know.
Right.
And all of the new characters that they brought in the GI Joe animated movie on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't get my head around those characters for some reason.
Okay.
It doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't like them. It's
Right.
just that, you know, I you want to put Sergeant Slaughter into GI Joe, fine, okay. Falcon's okay, you know, okay. You Don Johnson, good, fine, you know, but guys, I signed on for Duke and Flint and Scarlet and those kids, Snake Eyes and those characters.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I don't want to see these new guys
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I can like that movie, but it's just like I didn't feel the need to go out and get like a Falcon action figure.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. No, I can understand that.
Yeah. So after a while, with everything, there's usually this disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that with TV shows too. Like, okay, let's take, for example, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Now, all of the episodes where they're in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I could watch those all the time. But it's like when it starts to get into like Buffy the college years, it just felt like a different show to me.
Yeah. I hear you.
And it's like I'm not, it kind of lost me,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of shows usually, because I kind of like the idea of letting shows breathe. I'm getting tired of shows being canceled after a season or two.
Right.
I want to get back to the time where you got 8 seasons out of a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not in a way that a show goes on for 10 years too long, because
Right.
everybody always tells me, Supernatural went on too long, Smallville went on too long,
Which I have that right behind me there too. There we go.
right.
Right there.
So, but the thing is that it always seems like with a lot of shows around season 4 or 5, it just kind of loses me for whatever
Right.
reason. And,
Yeah.
So,
can
I
see
mean,
that.
it's like I can count pretty much on one hand TV shows I've watched from beginning to end that went multiple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Person of Interest. But that was easy because that was 5 seasons. And
Okay.
but they wrote it originally to go 6. But CBS said after 5, pull the plug. And but what happened there is they did this truncated 13 episode final season,
Mm-hmm.
which got shown a year after they shot it and was shown over a month.
Okay.
And I was like, I would like to think that if they knew the show wasn't going to be on for that final season wasn't going to be on for a year,
Hmm.
I'd like to think that they might have done something different than what they did. I mean, it don't get me wrong, it gets an ending. And it's an ending that makes sense
Okay.
within the context of the show. You know, there are little hints dropped throughout the entire series of where they're going to go eventually with it. So in the end, it tracks.
Okay.
But it's like I would have liked for them to just have gotten the entire 6 seasons that they had intended and where they could have gone, you know.
Right.
Would Julian Sands' character have come back? Where did Control end up? You know, there are like these little plot strands that are kind of left hanging.
And
That
that's one I
that
haven't seen. It sounds interesting.
yeah,
I know what you're talking
it's an
about, and
interesting show. Yeah,
yeah.
that's like the last show, one of the last shows that I really sort of pre-coof got into, you know,
Hmm.
was that show, you know. And it's very rare that I will kind of schedule my life around watching a television show of all things. But that was definitely appointment television for me.
Oh, sure.
And show was Into the Badlands,
Oh,
which
I've
was
had.
another show that I think needed at least another season because you're, and they did this to a couple of shows, and they did it to Dark Matter too on Sci-Fi Channel.
Okay.
Again, another show that went like 3 seasons, and right when they're getting up to the main point of what the show has been leading up to the whole time, nope, canceled, bye, you don't get finished. And it's like, oh yeah, I would like to have seen, and the guy who was the showrunner on Dark Matter also did the Stargate series,
Okay.
Joseph Malazzi. And I know he was on Twitter for a while after Dark Matter went off the air, talking about stuff that he wanted to do in you know, in that next season. And I was like, oh,
I
it
have
was
not.
like great sex, but not being allowed to come.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey.
it's like, I don't know any other way to put it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be gross, but you know,
No.
it's just like it's just yes, yes, yes.
No.
Why? You know, and are we still in the air? I'm sorry. It's just
Oh,
I'm going to
you
be in
made
so
me.
much trouble. I'm
You made me
sorry.
laugh. I'll just say you
Okay,
just made me laugh. So.
but you know, it's I don't like it when shows end on cliffhangers. Um, and Dark Matter ends on a cliffhanger. Um, the way they did Into the Badlands, you could take that as an ending, but then that final scene happens, and you're like, oh no, don't, no, they should have just cut that out. If but you knew, but that was it, because they kind of wrote it like they were going to come back for a 4th season, and then they didn't, because I think they would have maybe done that ending a little bit differently, you know. Have you seen Into the Badlands at all?
I have not. That was what I was gonna say.
Okay,
I've had multiple people
yeah,
recommend that one to me, but I have not watched it
yeah,
before.
yeah. See it if you get a chance, and then come back to me.
Okay. Yeah.
especially after that third season.
Okay.
And it's just like that. That's a shit that really, in my opinion, really needed one more season to kind of wrap everything up.
Yeah.
But I get why it's kind of not really a good idea to do it now, because, you know, most of the actors are on to other things.
Mm-hmm.
They would really have to like whip themselves back into the shape they were in when they did the show.
Yeah.
And that takes time too. And that's a lot of stress on the body. And then, you know, you'd have to actually write it, then actually shoot the damn thing, and then, you know, hope nobody gets hurt, or else, you know, production's down, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then they did all that crazy wire work too, you know. So, you know, I kind of get it from the actor standpoint. Of there would be a lot that they would have to do to prep. They would probably need a couple of years to prep just to come back to do it.
Right. Right.
You know, and then it's trying to figure out where they're going to shoot it. Are they going to do it in America? Are they going to go back to Ireland and shoot it? Because I know they did some of it there.
Okay.
So logistically, it would be a chore. So it's like one of those things where I would have loved to see it come back and do one more season and finish everything out. On the other hand, I understand the amount of work that would have to go into it, and also present climate being what it is, I would be worried about studio interference.
Sure.
And, you know, them adding, shall we say, certain things to it that don't need to be there,
Gotcha.
that tend to drag down good shows and movies these days. So I would be worried about that.
Yeah. I just made me think of it. I don't follow a ton of series, but I try to get into it. But
Me either.
But there's some that I have, but you were talking about kind of unresolved, or, you know, not feeling really satisfied after like watching series. Another thing that is a disappointment is there's been some times where I've kind of gotten into a show and they get canceled out of the blue, like you know, only a season or two, and there's one that came to my mind. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it was called John Doe.
Oh yeah.
And not saying the greatest show ever, but I got into it, and just with it being, I think it was only one season, it got canceled, and there was like, it's one of those shows that there was some multiple storylines that were like running through the episodes, and you have a lot of unresolved things. That's like, I want to know how the story ends, you know, kind of. So that's always a disappointment when something like that gets canceled.
Wasn't he like getting buried alive or something? Yeah.
And did
that get resolved? Did he get out of that?
I'll just say, I think I remember major cliffhanger and multiple storylines not being resolved. So we'll just say that major cliffhanger.
Yeah, because
we'll say, and then now we're not going to get, you know, hear the end of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So. But
Fox was very notorious at that time about not renewing shows.
Yeah.
One show that actually came to mind tonight, because on Geeky Geezers they did that whole X-Files segment in memoriam, because Mark Snow passed, who did the music for X-Files and Millennium. And the show that I was thinking of was a show called Strange Luck. With D.B. Sweeney. And it's this kind of conspiracy show, and his brother is missing and he's looking for him, and he does in like the final couple of episodes, he does find him. but then the bad guys show up and then they get separated again. And then at the very end, in the final scene, he gets this message on his answering machine from his brother, and he says, if you're listening to this, everything's gone wrong. Call the FBI. There's one other man left that I trust. His name is Mulder. It was like, okay, there's going to be this crossover with Strangeluck and X-Files. And you never got it because that was it. It was just that one season, and Boomer brings this up, and I agree with him. Millennium's a show that kind of got done dirty.
I've not seen that one.
I mean, it went 3 seasons, but again, could have gone longer. And instead of having a whole X-Files episode where they, kind of let at least where Lance Henriksen ended up. But there were a lot of other plot threads that were still hanging. And I don't like it when these shows just they're in the middle of these storylines and then the networks just decide. I guess whether they decide, or because that's another thing too, is this how much do the ratings really matter, or is it just somebody at that particular studio that chooses to champion certain shows over the other? Because it doesn't occur to you that at least to do some kind of a mini series or something to close everything out. Why leave a show hanging? Or you do a long running show and then you find out the entire show's been in a snow globe the entire time. And then and you get the whole Tommy Westfall universe thing going. And which unfortunately takes out X-Files as well. So anyway,
another, and not to keep going on this, or no,
that's fine.
But another one that I thought was interesting was there was a series, Jericho.
Oh yeah,
with Skeet Ulrich and
Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah. Sorry, I always say his name wrong.
Gerald McRaney.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I remember that one. They had one season, I think, got canceled, and then it was canceled for a little while. But I think there was like a fan based like petition, pushing. A lot of people were wanting to know where it was going to go from there, and I think it got picked up one more season. But I think there was a few years in between the 2 seasons because it was canceled.
There
brought it back.
Years,
When they brought it back, and then it got canceled again after that season. I think.
John Doe says, "Love Jericho" as part of that petition. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, that's what I did too.
I remember that. Yeah.
Jeff, and I was trying to. I was like, yeah, because I heard about it later. That I was like, there was like actually a possibility of that. But I did enjoy that show, and I was excited that they got a second season. But then it just didn't go any further after that one either. But yeah.
Well, I tell you, when it came to the second season of Jericho, I felt like they were rushing to get to the end.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like to me. It felt like they were trying to. It felt like they were trying to get 2 seasons of material into one season, and it kind of came off a little uneven to me. I like the show. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was rushing to get to the end.
It's maybe they thought we might, after it was
We're
only
not gonna have a
canceled
chance.
once.
Yeah.
And they're like, this might happen again, and this is the last chance. try to shoehorn as much into this as we can. But like you said, if they knew for sure, like if they had some like a contract set up and you're like, okay, you at least have 2 more seasons, they would have let it breathe a little bit more and spread that out a little bit more than like what you're saying, like trying to shove too much in all at the same time.
Mm. Look at Firefly and Farscape. Yeah, if all of the people who claimed that they watched Firefly were actually watching it at the time, that show would still be on.
Yeah. I'll admit, I came to it after it was done. That was not one I saw, but I had fun going back and revisiting it. But that was definitely one I'll admit I did not see it when it was originally airing.
Yeah. It didn't help that they showed it out of order too.
Correct. That was like the funny thing too. Like later when I got the series, you'd go online and people would put like, okay, actually watch it in this order.
Yeah. And good night to, well, technically good morning there, the Sashi.
Good morning, Sashi.
Has to get back to work. All right. Don't want to ignore the chat. Person of Interest is a great one. Yeah, I love that show. I really did.
I'll have to check that out because that was
for sure.
Jim
Caviezel. Yeah.
Caviezel. Yeah, and I like him. Anyway, yeah, that's one I just never got around to seeing.
Yeah. So she said I would defer to Retro Blasting if he shows up. He's still talking about Mask. You know.
Yeah.
And then and demonetized. Yes. This unerring habit I have of R-rating my own stream. I'll have you know, I'm an expert at edging. Cutting lenses to fit frames is called edging. I've been doing it for decades. Right on. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Oh boy, I'll never move that. Shave me. It's gone too far. It's gone too far, too fast, too quick.
And then anyway. You know, if we're throwing out stuff about series, I'll say that I was going for quite a while without watching any, but then I got into 2 here recently, and I brought them up before, so not to keep on harping on it because people probably heard me say it before, but Murderbot I'm just finishing up now. That's on the Apple's thing. I'm enjoying that one. That's Alexander Skarsgård, I think, is the one that's in that. It's sci-fi with some dark humor in it. I've really enjoyed it so far. And then the other one was Mobland. It's Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan. I think Guy Ritchie directed some of the series, but is like producer on the whole thing. And those have 2 caught my interest lately. But before that, it'd been a little while since I'd really dove in and went through a full series.
Yeah, and once I've seen those, I'll have to bring you back on, and we can kind of go into those and discuss it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And Farscape got brought up in the chat. I'm not really like the expert on Farscape. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I never really watched it. Even though, like G.I. Joe, there is a YouTube channel that has been running Farscape.
Oh yeah,
on a loop for a while now, and I every once in a while I'll catch like a little snippet out of it. Because I met Gigi Edgley at a con a few years ago. She kept playing with my disruptor props, with one of my working disruptor props, and was telling me on that show how her prop gun was a cheap piece of junk that did nothing.
She's probably like, I wish I would have had that on my when I was
yeah. So she was playing with your disruptor a lot, was she? I'm sorry. I apologize.
And back to the rated R. No, I'm just kidding.
And oh my God. Okay. I am just running my own show into the ground tonight.
Hey. We're getting some good laughs out of it. It might as
Damn it. Okay. I apologize to all Farscape fans. I apologize unreservedly. All right. Let's pull this show out of the dumpster because I'm willing to bet we've probably already lost Netter. Troy, if you're on, is Netter still with us? I apologize.
That's funny.
Oh my god. Okay. All right, but yeah, I find it difficult to get into series television these days because you get interested in this show and it only lasts a season or two, or it ends on a cliffhanger. Troy's like, we're barely holding on. Yeah, I know. I'm not helping. I'm trying to have an adult conversation with you. Yes, I know, and I'm failing. You ever see that Hellsing Ultimate Abridged?
No.
Okay. So you have Hellsing Ultimate, which is this anime. And so there's Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, where they've redubbed over it and they've turned it into a comedy.
Okay.
They kind of turn it into kind of like a Deadpool kind of thing.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
And so he's such a troublemaker that when all of these kind of corporate muckety-mucks show up, they hide him down in the basement. So he says, okay, just buy me like a widescreen TV and Netflix, and I'll stay downstairs.
Right. Right.
Then, of course, these bad guy vampires attack the castle.
Okay.
And they get down to him in the basement and they blow a hole in the wall. That was a 70-inch plasma screen TV. What can I do for you? Oh, so you're him, the Night Stalker, the, Death Incarnate, and all this. Oh, baby, work the shaft. What? Oh, no, I just like talking dirty whenever somebody's jerking me off or something like that, is what he says. He's like, I don't know why I'm getting into that tonight. He says, so I'm trying to have an adult conversation with you. Yes, I know, and I'm failing. But whenever some blonde little shit, blows a hole in my wall and then tries to impress me like I'm his alcoholic father, he's just like, why don't you go get me another beer, princess? And then they start shooting at each other. It's really funny. I'm not doing it justice.
No, it sounds funny. I'll have to. Yeah, I wrote that down too. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, it's my cousin. She's talking about Regents too. I'm bad. Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. This is all entirely my fault. Everybody's watching this show right now going, what the hell is going on? No. Anyway, okay, moving on from that. So things we are suggesting, Murder Mob Land, Person of Interest, Jericho, and Hellsing Ultimate Abridged.
Yeah, there you go.
Just buckle up.
Yep. Just got a lot now to get through.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so since we are on that subject, is there anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
Like coming out to watch, or on my channel, or what?
Oh, either or.
Or what were you thinking of?
Well, I was thinking of. Well, we'll do it this way: something that you're looking forward to seeing, and something that you would suggest not to see.
Oh, okay. Excited to see, but I'm hopefully optimistic. But I hope it goes well. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm gonna go see Superman coming out here on the 11th when that comes out, and I'm gonna take a little trip, I think, to go visit some family that I have to travel a little ways to get it to. I'm gonna go see it on an IMAX theater, so I'm looking forward to it. I like Superman. That was growing up. I was always that was one of my comic characters, and from the cartoons. I always in the Christopher Reeves movies. Uh, I always enjoyed that one, and I'm hoping, and I liked Man of Steel. I know not everybody really cares for that, or it's divisive, but uh, I I liked Man of Steel as well. So I'm hoping for the best for this one. I will say one that I was really looking forward to, and that I did go see was it's already, but F1, the Formula One racing movie with uh, why am I completely blanking on
Brad
his
Pitt.
name? Brad Pitt. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Apparently, it's getting a little early in the morning for me too. So blanking on names now, but
Yeah.
I had fun with it. I'm not saying it was anything deep and philosophical, but it felt like it felt like a good summer movie, and I mean that like in the best way. That it was like one of those grab some popcorn and go to the movie summer movies. But not to watch. I don't know. I'd have to look to see even what's coming out. That one's a
Or,
stumper for me.
or if there was something that you've seen lately that you thought, that could have been better.
Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah.
I I thought it could have been better. I'm not saying it was horrible, and I think some people would still have fun with it, but I was hoping for a little more from it. I'll just say that.
Yeah, so was I. Not, but the difference was with me was that I went in with absolutely no expectations.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't even planning it, and if it hadn't been for the fact that it was the mystery movie,
Oh yeah,
which apparently I was the last one to find out. Even though apparently it was all over Reddit beforehand.
I didn't
Um,
I didn't realize it either, and so that's
no,
I did that as well with the mystery movie, and uh, but that was one I thought I thought it was too big of a movie for them to do the mystery movie with
yeah,
it,
it's
but
probably the biggest one they've done
yeah.
that I know of. Because usually, well, when I started out watching the mystery movies anyway, it was usually something that either was going to wind up on Amazon
Hmm.
or Apple TV.
Yeah.
And they've kind of gone away from that, and it's gone to, well, occasionally there'll be like a Shudder movie in there, like
Right.
Dangerous Animals or something.
Hmm.
Or and then they started, getting the movies that were like a week, sometimes two away from a wide release.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's left me trying to guess off of the scant clues that they give you. Like tomorrow night, I don't. Are you getting the movie
Nope.
in your area? You're
Nope.
not. Okay.
Nope. Nope.
Um.
Unfortunately, I don't get them. I don't get them all that you all seem to be able to get for the mystery movies. But nope, there's nothing at
No.
our theater for tomorrow.
Oh, and even I don't get them all
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like Unbreakable Boy, I didn't get.
Oh, okay.
My Dead Friend Zoe, I didn't get.
I didn't get that one either.
Well,
there was one of them we did. Wasn't there
40,
different movies or something?
We did like 3 different movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was kind of odd because I didn't know that was a possibility too. It seemed like anyway.
And
but,
neither of them was me. I just went to hell with it and went to go see a movie that night.
Yep. Yep.
And I that's when I went to the Indian film, Shiva.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and I went to that off of Latino Slant's recommendation because
Hmm.
I like the sound of this, and it came to my town. I was like, okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So, and there was this movie, and I know Cindy saw it and reviewed it. Was this movie 40 Acres,
Mm.
which was apparently a mystery night that I don't think anybody got.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
except maybe like on the West Coast or something. I think.
Okay.
Um, because we sure as hell didn't get it here. None of us. You didn't
I
get
was
it.
gonna say no.
Cindy didn't get it. I don't think Kyle got it. Um, so it's kind of a crapshoot. But tomorrow night there's going to be one, and there's a few. I got a few ideas about what it
Yeah.
might be. None of them I'm looking forward to seeing
Oh
at
no.
all.
That's
So,
always
oh,
scary to be like, oh,
don't be that one,
yeah.
please. What's my alternative?
Yeah,
Oh no.
exactly. Can I have a little bit of choice
Okay,
in it?
so
But yeah, I mean those. But yeah, so that's some things I'm looking forward to. Some things I've
yeah.
watched. It's been fun doing those mystery movies. Hopefully, I think the next one I have is like towards the end of this month, before I have another one. But
Oh,
that's been fun. I did. So we were talking about having unwatched movies on our shelves. After I went and saw F1, one movie that I had sitting on my shelf forever and I hadn't watched it, but got me into race, like wanting to watch another racing movie. I had Rush. I don't know if you've ever
oh,
seen that. It's a
I have. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot more, and I not. I've obviously thought I would enjoy it because I bought it. I wouldn't buy it if I didn't think I'd like it at all. But I
Mhm.
enjoyed it even more than I think I was expecting. So I had a good time with it.
Well, the thing about Rush, and I am more or less familiar with the story, but I remember Nicky Lauda,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember James Hunt,
Okay. Yeah.
and I think that's kind of the point of the movie
Yeah.
in a way, is that
Yeah.
he kind of had that one big year and then faded into obscurity, I guess, but
Yeah.
still had this rivalry going on with Lauda.
Right.
And I remember that accident when it happened, and it's
Mm.
just as horrific as the movie depicts it to be.
Mm-hmm.
How he got out of that, I have no idea, but
Right.
he did. You know, um,
I think that's what pulls me into that movie a bit too, because it's
yeah,
based on a true story.
it is.
Yeah.
And there are things in it that I question, but I don't think it ruins the movie at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's just like it was interesting because I felt like I was watching something where I only had half the story,
Right.
and I was learning that there was this whole other piece to the puzzle. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that was a good film.
Yeah. It was a nice surprise.
All right,
And like I said,
and
it
hello,
just was sitting there. Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut
the
you off.
Mancherino Adventures.
Yep.
An
My
unfamiliar
friend,
name for me. Thank you. Welcome to.
that
Oh, right on.
good friend,
Welcome to
Maria.
the.
Yeah.
Welcome, Maria.
Yeah.
All righty. Uh, so, Rush, you were saying.
Yeah. It's just another one of those that so now I want to try to get through some more unwatched movies on my shelf because I was like, how long I've had it sitting on there for a while and hadn't gotten to it, and I ended up really enjoying it. So that's where I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
try to chip away at a few more of those that I don't have watched yet behind me.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's the thing. And I think Greg has a video on this, fanzine vids. And I think he was talking about, hey, we collect all this physical media. Now we actually have to sit down and
Yeah.
watch it every once in a while. And
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But I don't always have the opportunity. Like
Right.
I'm trying to remember, when was the last time that I just picked something out and watched something that didn't have to do with a watch party.
Yeah.
And
So
I don't
Rush,
remember.
obviously, I was just talking about, but that was the
Yeah.
last one. I just did that recently. But I agree with you that it seemed like I got into a stretch last year, even in going into this year, but with getting into the YouTube channel, I was either jumping on somebody's stream or doing it on my own, and I was having to watch a movie for that stream, and so it was a lot of times it was already, it wasn't just that I'm gonna go browse and pick one out, and I still enjoyed watching them, but it was kind of already planned out for me. you
Yeah.
know
Troy says, honestly, I host watch parties specifically so I have time to watch films.
Yeah, build it
Yeah,
into it.
sometimes you got
Yeah.
to do that way too,
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've been trying to do, especially on the shows that I've been doing with Bill, is try and come up with this list of, and I don't know if this is necessarily going to be anything anybody would like or anything he would necessarily like, but
Mm-hmm.
coming up with this list of, hey, let's watch this film. Um, I know for the Western show, I've been trying to talk him into watching Once Upon a Texas Train,
I have not seen that.
which is this movie that has a lot of the old cowboy actors in it, and the story there is it's Willie Nelson as this outlaw who's out of prison after 20 years because he tried to rob a train and screwed it up, gets shot and arrested.
Mm.
So as soon as he gets out of prison, let's go take down the train. So he gets his old gang back together. And of course, Richard Widmark is the old sheriff who now reforms his posse,
Mm-hmm.
to go after him. And then they wind up running into Sean Cassidy and his gang,
Mm.
and they have to shoot it out with him.
Yep.
So it becomes kind of like these old timers against these young guys. It's actually a fun movie. It's really, really more of a comedy than anything else because you have Chuck Connors and Ken Curtis, Stuart Whitman, and all of these guys, just kind of doing their thing, and just kind of just playing themselves basically.
Yeah. Right.
It's fun. Angie Dickinson is in it, and she's this woman who's going back and forth between Willie Nelson and Richard Widmark, and so there's that whole animosity triangle there, and it's a fun movie, and it was a TV movie, so it's like an hour and a half. And it
Nice.
breezes by. It's a lot of fun.
I'll
I've been
have to look that up.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk him into doing that one.
When you started saying that, I thought you were going to say a different one. I heard the Once Upon, and then
A Time in the West, which we
yep, yep,
still need to do. Yeah.
yeah. So that was the first one that was popping in my head. But then when I was like, wait a minute, I was figuring I knew what you were going to be talking about, and then so I wrote that one down as well. I have not heard that one.
So there's that, and that's when we decided we just got to make a list of
Mm-hmm.
of movies that we want to do, and then he'll always pop in with some other one out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, we'll do that one then, and
Yeah, come up with some
but
of your heavy hitters that you've had on a watch list for a while,
oh,
or you have
absolutely,
or you have
well,
sitting on
not
your shelf and you
or
haven't watched
movies.
yet, or
Or movies that I've already seen that I
yeah.
thought, oh, that would be good for the show. Like Centurion is one that I want to do
I don't know that either.
for action theater. That's this Neil Marshall movie with Michael Fassbender. It's about kind of that lost legion that loses the eagle and all that, and it's the whole kind of a what if kind of a thing, and
Oh, I'll have to.
it's an
I know that one.
interesting movie.
I like Michael Fassbender though, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So there's that one. I want to start doing more Hong Kong films.
Oh, okay.
You know, like kind of John Woo, Ringo Lam. I want to
Hmm.
do Havoc, which was
Yeah.
this movie with Tom Hardy that just came out on Netflix.
Yep.
Um,
I haven't seen it yet, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, that one is just right up my alley.
Yeah.
Um, because I want to do like The Killer and Hard Boiled and
Oh, yeah. Yep.
um, um, I want to do the Gerard Butler Fallen movies, like Olympus Has
Oh,
Fallen, and
yep.
I want to do those.
I actually have
Um,
not watched any of those before, so
yeah, and I
those are
think there's
something.
like a spin-off series that I think is on either Peacock or Amazon or something that I got to see. So, um, but yeah, I mean that's definitely. And hello to Daniel's Hot Topics. So yeah, I know I'm definitely starting to come up with a list of movies that I want to do.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about doing some Kurosawa films. I know
Mm,
Seven Samurai is one we've been talking about doing forever.
yeah.
Um, we're doing. I know Yojimbo and Sanjuro. He wants to do them both. I like that. Finally, I found somebody who actually remembers Yojimbo has a sequel. Thank you. Yeah. Um, so and that starts getting me into what I consider to be the spinoff from that is some of these French New Wave films.
Okay.
Like you start to get movies like Les Samurai with Alain
Hmm.
Delon. I love that movie. Often imitated. I like to do that. Um, and a movie that's kind of an imitate that is such an imitation of it, it's practically a remake. Ghost Dog,
I've
the
heard.
way the
Okay.
samurai with Forrest
Yep.
Whitaker. I want to do that movie.
I haven't seen it,
Um,
but I've heard people talking about it quite a bit, or not quite a bit, but I've heard friends say that they enjoyed it.
yeah. So yeah. Um, Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter is one that I've brought up to him
Hmm.
uh, to do, um, and maybe start doing some of the Hammer films as well. Um, Especially if he wants to bring his horror movie Friday show back.
Yeah.
That would be really good to kind of go back and do some of the Hammer films and Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and kind of go beyond that. Maybe do maybe the Karnstein films and whatnot. Um, those are all just thoughts. Ghost Dog has a
I
Criterion. Yeah, I need to pick that up. I like to see
oh,
what's on it.
to check it out. Yeah, you said Hammer Films. I bought a. Oh, they had a. Oh, it was probably last year now by this point, but they had a big sale on. There was a Blu-ray big pack of Hammer horror films, and I thought it'd be fun to dig into. See, I really haven't watched many of them, so I thought that would be a good
Hmm.
way to check some out.
Daniel says, just watched Independence Day Resurgence. It was a great movie. Sad it bombed. I mean, I get a third movie. You're the only person I've ever heard who likes Independence Day Resurgence, Daniel. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I actually haven't seen it.
I haven't either. No. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I definitely got some that I want to do. It's just a matter of sitting down and getting it done, or I don't know, maybe just start doing them on my own. But the thing about that is my internet being so spotty the way it is.
Mm, yeah.
Could I get through an entire film without any major issues? And that's why I hesitate doing watch parties, or I'd be
Yeah.
doing a lot more of them than I do.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I can understand that.
yeah, I I'm looking. I actually tried changing providers a little while back, and I didn't see any difference.
Mm.
And then they got snippy on the phone with me about it, and I went, okay, well, you're definitely not convincing me now. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
toodles, you know.
Yeah.
Connie says I've done a couple of Hammer horror movies, Friday nights, yeah. Um,
Nice.
for our watch party on Cosme, yeah. Um, Connie, I don't remember if it was with you or if it was on another channel. And there was a movie that brings up or has a character that's Count Karnstein, but it's not considered to be in the Karnstein cycle. Do you remember what that might be at all? Because I'm not remembering the title. I remembered it being a decent movie. I don't remember. I'm blanking on the title, but you'd probably know that a little bit better than I do. Anyway, it'll
So,
come to me.
um, I was going to ask you. I know you've hit a lot of the mystery movie nights, and with all your
Mhm.
streamings, do you get to the theater outside of that at all, or is it just, yeah? Because we were just talking about time and not having enough time to do everything. But I'm just kind of curious if that's kind of your theater viewing is going to those, which is not anything bad, but or if you find yourself with other new releases that you just know you might want to see that you go outside of that, or do you find it hard to get out other than ones you need to do for the stream like
Well,
that?
yeah, it is hard to get out.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing, especially if you're talking about a movie that goes into like the 3 hour range.
Oh, for sure.
It's just hard to schedule around those.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is being motivated to go,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I need to be motivated to go now.
yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the last movie was that I just went out and saw on my own. Um,
I've
I
had a
think
few others.
I think Chava might have been the last one that I just said the hell with it. I'll go on my own. Reanimator. I went to that when they did the reissue,
Yeah.
the 4K reissue. I went to go see that. But yeah, I think those were like the last times that I remember. Yeah, going to making the effort to go out and see it on my own.
Yeah. I've had quite a few that have now been those mystery movie ones and have had pretty good luck with the ones I've had so far, I would say, for that. I know it might
Mhm.
not always be the case, but have really enjoyed quite a few of them that I've had from that. But yeah, I was just looking at my list. There was a few others I just went out and got out to see, but I'm the same way where I'm out in the country, so it's like not super far, but minimum it's about a half hour to get into the theater. So, by the
Mhm.
time, okay, there's at least an hour round trip, and then you have 20 minutes or so of previews before the movie, and then just like you said, then if it's a 2.5 to 3 hour movie, that's a chunk of time with all that
Yeah.
added up together. So I'm kind of with you too, where it takes some major motivation to get in sometimes.
What was your first mystery movie that you
Uh,
remember going to?
Companion.
Oh,
So
nice.
I didn't go. The first time I ever went to one of the mystery movies was talking with you all and jumping on that stream to do it. So I just had never really done it before, and I think that was part of me where I'd fallen into not having the motivation to do something. And I was like, well, it always sounded kind of fun, and I'd jump in on your stream, see what movie you saw, and I was like, well, that could be kind of fun. But I think that was Companion was the first one that I hit with that.
Yeah.
Um, but then
My
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, no, please. I
Oh,
want to hear what.
my first one was Spirited.
trying to remember what that one is.
Don't worry, no one else does either. It was it is a musical with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. I have not seen that, but I know what you're talking about.
And then you throw Octavia Spencer in there, and you have a weekend. Especially when they try to put her together with Will Ferrell as a romantic couple, and I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? Anyway, yeah, that was interesting because. Like I said, mystery movie. I went just completely on a lark one night. Why not? It's a free movie. Why not? Let's go give this a look. And because I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan.
Okay.
And Ryan Reynolds goes only so far with me.
Yeah.
And so a movie with both of them in it is not something I'm necessarily looking forward to. Yeah. Especially when it's a musical on top of it. Right. So it's like, where are we going with this?
Yep.
And it actually goes in a pretty interesting direction. Especially when you find out who Will Ferrell's character turns out to be.
Okay.
And once you find that out, that's a pretty interesting arc.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets into this really kind of hard-hitting anti-cancel culture movie.
Oh, really?
In the end, too, because, there's... because during the course of the movie, somebody self-deletes because of it. And you're like, oh, okay, this movie this got serious.
Yeah.
Shit just got real. And so it's like, this is actually not a bad movie. And it's not something I would necessarily have gone to see. But I thought it was interesting. Enigma says, love that movie. Spirited, great movie, and I'm not a musical fan. Yeah, I actually surprisingly liked it, Yeah.
Yeah, I found that with some of them, there have been some movies that I don't know if I would have gone out to the theater to see it if it wasn't the mystery movie, but I definitely would have checked it out. But whether I had waited till it came out on streaming or something, but like I said, I've had good luck so far, the ones I've had this year. But one of them was Last Breath, the deep sea.
Yeah.
But so that was like one that I was like, oh, it looks interesting enough, but I might just wait. And then, but it was the mystery movie, but I was glad I watched it. I don't know, I enjoyed it. So anyway, it's interesting.
The mystery movies can be something of a mixed bag because, like I said, you're on occasion getting these movies that are meant for streaming to begin with.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And you're also, every once in a while, you'll get like an Oscar level movie, like American Fiction was one of the mystery nights.
Yeah.
And one of the better ones. You get a movie that kind of surprises you, like Companion does.
Yeah, that was a good surprise too.
Even though I think that would have been better had they not given away that main twist in the trailer. But
for sure.
Anyway,
for sure,
that's neither here nor there. And then every once in a while you'll miss one.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a really good one. Like I missed my chance at Sisu. And I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that on big screen. Yeah. But I would have had so much fun with that. But yeah, it's a crapshoot. Like, what's it going to be tomorrow night? I don't have a clue.
But you have some worries.
And there are a few possibilities, and I'm not looking forward to either one of them really. It could be Skill House.
Oh yeah.
Which is the thing where they they got the influencers in the house and they start getting knocked off, and I'm
Yep.
like, I'm going to be rooting for the killer, guys. Come on. Plus, you have Neil McDonough in the movie, so if he's not the killer, or if he's not dead by the end of the first act, it's going to be him. Come on, and I'm going to be rooting for him.
Yep.
You know, and just off a general principle, I'm going to be rooting for him. It could be this hot milk thing that looks like it's going to be like some Body Heat ripoff, and I'm like, I don't want to go see this. Because it's got, you know, this actress in it where they're trying to like, oh, she's going to be the next big thing, and
yeah,
can't you tell that by the trailer? You know, I'm like, don't even get me started on that, please. And then they got this South African thing that looks like that's like about dogs and apartheid, and I'm like, I don't need a fucking lecture, guys. Why are you coming out with this now?
Yeah.
I know why you're coming out with this now. You know, because you're going to try to equate, you know, apartheid in South Africa to present day America. So fuck off with that. You know, I don't need to see that. You know, so I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow night. I just hope whatever it is, it's good.
Yeah,
because
so
you know I'm going to miss half of Troy's member movie night, and I'd rather watch Clue again than whatever they come up with. You know, I'd rather just give me Tim Curry being funny, please. I'd rather just watch that.
That's a fun one. Yep.
I'll just watch. I'll watch Tim Curry. I don't want to be lectured at. Tim Curry actually cares about his fans.
There you go.
Know? This is the guy who apologized for having a stroke.
It's not funny, but you're like,
that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm in a wheelchair now. You know, I'm like, dude, we're just happy you're alive.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Don't apologize. We're not expecting you to get up and sing and dance.
Yeah.
We're just glad you're still here. You know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know, that's the difference. You know?
Yeah.
I like some of these, you know, I just prefer some of these older actors because, you know, they care about their fans, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that's, I don't like it when they get hacked on, you know? Okay. So some of these movies they were in weren't as good, but, you know,
right.
I'd rather watch your Hunter from the Future again for as batshit as that movie is. It's kind of like Conan that turns into Star Wars at the end, you know. And I'm not kidding. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You think you're watching this, you know, sword and sandals flick, and then all of a sudden they're in spaceships, and I'm like, what is happening?
That took
just
a
like
turn.
okay.
Yeah. That took a turn.
All right. Here's what happens.
Yep.
All right. So, stay with me for a minute on this.
Okay.
He's going to save the damsel in distress. Hold on. Okay. So, but he finds out he's from the future, and he's got to go up in a spaceship in the movie. Okay. What? How much cocaine have you done?
It's like hear me out. Hear me out.
Hear me out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give the child. Stay with me on this. We're going to give a child a miniaturized stegosaurus. And I'm going to put on a duck's bill.
This one almost sounds a little interesting.
Sounds interesting, but it really won't be.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just I never
That's
know.
funny.
I never know anymore, man. But I miss those kind of movies from back in the 70s and 80s that just took these out of nowhere little turns that just like
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it didn't always come off, but they took a chance and
Yep.
we're trying to be entertaining and everything today is either a lecture
Hmm.
or they're so afraid of offending anybody that there's barely a movie there. So,
Right.
so it's
Right.
just like, what do you do? Um, Tim Curry and Chris Awesome, I agree.
Mm.
They actually kind of all are, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, I first saw Tim Curry in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Oh, I first heard of Tim Curry in a movie called Times Square,
Hmm. I don't know that one.
where he plays this radio DJ. I think it was like 79, 80. And it was this movie that used to run on cable quite a bit. Never saw it because it was rated R and I wasn't allowed to see it.
Right.
But that's where I first remember hearing of him. I
Hmm.
knew of Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Yeah.
but I never made the connection that he was in that as well because obviously at the point in time when that movie came out, there's no way in hell my parents would have let me watch that.
For sure. For sure.
No. Even though we live close to a movie theater that used to like do midnight showings of it.
Hmm.
And I talk about this movie theater a lot. It's called there used to be this movie theater called the Fox Theater.
Hmm.
That was originally 2 screens and then eventually expanded into 4 and added a game room.
Okay.
And they used to do, like I said, midnight showings of Rocky Horror Picture Show. They had a Apocalypse Now played there for so long that they actually painted a mural of the poster on the side of the building to
Yeah.
advertise it. It was there for so long.
Yeah.
I saw the first R-rated movie I ever saw in a theater. I saw there.
Okay.
DC Cab.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Too young to be watching it again, but long story there.
Yeah.
Godzilla triple feature.
Hmm.
Triple features of old school Disney movies. I'm talking like Sword in the Stone, Aristocats. It was just that kind of place,
Right.
Evil Dead,
Okay.
Serpent and the Rainbow. This was kind of like the cool place to go,
Right.
Right. It was one of those. It was one of those theaters where if it was encouraged, that's where like the Sam Raimi wannabe kids or Stephen King wannabe kids would be hanging out, would be there.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, that was like a super cool place to go to. And
Yeah.
$1 ticket prices
Yep.
all day.
Yeah.
4 showings every movie. I remember it. 3,
Yeah.
5, 7, and 9. And then 1 o'clock in the summer.
Okay.
So 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Because they were always showing these movies that were usually hour and a half, hour, 40 minutes max. And you could
Right.
have these quick turnarounds.
Right.
But it was like the fun place to go to. And until it wasn't,
Yeah.
because somebody always has to come along and ruin it. But yeah. I look back because it was like you throw a rock in the air, it would come down and it would hit a movie theater.
Yeah.
Every
yeah.
mall had a movie theater.
Yeah.
Every even in the town that I live in, there used to be like 3 or 4. Now there are 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had quite a few more, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty thinned out now around me.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
like the Regal's the one that I go to, not necessarily preference. It's just I go because it's the closest, you know.
Right.
And it's one of the bigger chains. So it's just like, because I've had people ask, well, why don't you just go to other movie theaters? I go, because, there's a very small selection of places for me to go, you
Hmm.
know. Um, the legit IMAX theaters are gone.
Right.
Um,
That's what.
most of the multiplexes are gone.
Yeah.
Um, don't even get me started on drive-in theaters. Um,
We grew up
the
with
art
those.
house places, for the most part, are gone. The
Yeah.
Roxy's gone. Um, the Roxy was another place that was really cool. Um, and it got me at just the right time, which
Yeah.
was like, the early 90s when it was, I was one of these, hang out in the coffee shop assholes thinking I'm going to write a screenplay or something, you
Yeah.
know, and it's, just, and, I'm starting to get into like the independent movies of the time,
Hmm.
and this is just before Tarantino hit, and
Right.
Rodriguez and that whole group,
Right.
and there's, and I'm going to see like Existenz and Yuli's Gold and all of these
Mm-hmm.
independent films, and even though I had to go from my house all the way into downtown Charleston to go to the Roxy to see it, but
Hmm.
that's what was there, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And I, and that's another thing too, is being interested enough in going to see a movie that you are willing to make that kind of a trek to go and see it,
Oh,
you
for
know.
sure. For sure.
And I'm just not willing to do that now
Yeah.
because it's just I'm not motivated to do it.
Yeah.
And I really do feel like I've lost something, and I feel like there's
Yeah.
been this shift in the wrong direction. And you need to give people the reason to go back.
Right.
And you know it, I'm sorry, Jurassic World is not going to do it.
Right.
you know and Mission Impossible was my most anticipated movie of the year. I haven't gone to see that.
Yeah. That's a long one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did go see that one. Yeah, that's a long one.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and it kind of being so, is from going from being such a film fan and being excited to go and guaranteed that even if the movie's not good, at least it tried,
Right.
to now looking for any excuse not to go.
Right.
That's big for me,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it.
I know. I definitely hear you on that. It's yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like for you. I don't know what were what were the movies when you were a kid that just did you ever see a movie that made you want to go out and make your own movie?
Oh, sure. You know, well, going back to being more of a when I probably would have had some thoughts like that would have been probably in the 80s and early 90s. You know, like I was a lot of action and sci-fi movies, so there's probably a lot of
Oh yeah.
those that I would see those and I like that. So like I always throw this one out there too. I probably say it too often, but like RoboCop, I got to see that in the theater, probably maybe a little bit younger than I should have watched that one.
Yeah.
But uh, I don't know, just things like that. I would come out of that and my imagination would be going, with but then also along the lines of, I mean, I don't know. It seems like I was usually sci-fi movies or action for like a long time, but then it was kind of fun to start digging into different genres and checking out other movies. But yeah, definitely some of those I'd walk out and be like, or you see like one of the Star Wars for the first time and just the world, it just would be fun to create something like that. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the imagination to come up with everything like that. So now I just go and watch the movie and have a good time with it. But yeah, those would be some. As a kid, I'd be excited and be like, oh, I could, that'd be fun to be able to come up with create your own world and let and share it with people, and let them come in and enjoy it as well.
Now, and this is the part where everybody's going to stick me with spears, and I'll understand why. The movie that upsets me that I didn't come up with the idea of it first.
Okay.
Blair Witch Project.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No,
let's just go into the woods in our town with a few cameras and improvise a movie and maybe come up with this backstory, come up with this lore, hire some actors who are crazy and dumb enough to do it, to go out and do this movie. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I come up with this first. Damn it, it is so simple.
Yeah. Yeah. But they were like, they just came up with that idea. Let's just do it. And I think that was what I remember hearing the stories of that when it was coming out. Like they just basically maxed out their credit cards to get enough stuff to put this together. And then somehow they get it onto the big screen and they got a good return on their investment on it. We'll just say that.
They did. I mean, people hack on that movie now, and I get it.
Right.
I get it. Is that
at the time
because they're you got like the diehard horror movie fans who like they wanted it to be more along the lines of like a Cannibal Holocaust or something like that. I get it,
right?
And I get it, but I'm like, that's not what they were trying to do. It's a campfire ghost story. It's the kind of story that John Houseman's character in The Fog would be telling to those kids at the beginning of that movie.
Right.
That's the way I always took Blair Witch. It's it's a bedtime story. This is how you scare little kids before go to sleep, or the Blair Witch will get you. And that's the way that I always took it. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like the sequels as much.
Right. Yeah.
2, it's okay, but it kind of goes off into its own direction. While my thing would have been just go back into the woods again. And they did that in 3, and they kind of bollocks that up. But I liked the lore that they made up surrounding the witch. And I like that whole marketing campaign, which is kind of, is it real?
Oh no, I definitely.
And that's what really, that's what people don't understand. That's what drew people in.
Oh yeah.
At the time, that's when marketing was so much better than it is now. And that's one of the things that I liked about Longlegs.
Yeah.
Was the marketing campaign around that. But unfortunately, the problem there was people, for whatever reason, began to think, oh, it's going to be this grounded Silence of the Lambs kind of thing. So when the supernatural part of that film comes to light, people are just like, wait, where are you going with this?
Right.
And it kind of lost people. And again,
Right.
I get it. But I felt it tracked, but neither here nor there. I like the trailer for Weapons.
Yeah,
because that's got me. It reminds me a lot of what the early marketing was for Longlegs. It really it has me. Okay, I'm fascinated. I'm trying to piece this together. Don't tell me too much.
Right.
Don't put anything else out.
Right.
And if they do put another trailer out, I'm not going to see it. But it's just like, I like where you're going with this. Don't blow it. You know. Because your trailer is already better than the entirety of your previous movie, so don't mess this up. So yeah, I mean, there are good possibilities. They're going to make me wait a year for the next Christopher Nolan movie. Okay, whatever. Hey, do it upright.
Yeah.
So I ask.
Yeah.
So Weapons looks good. The Odyssey looks good. So there are still some possibilities between now and the next year or so that I'm looking forward to. But we'll see. We'll see. They couldn't have done it. They could have done better on couldn't have done better on Longlegs. Yeah, I do like the movie. Not as much as I was hoping to, but I liked it enough to recommend it, and I definitely want to give it another look. But and Nicolas Cage is just so insane in that film.
I agree. Yeah, that's quite the character.
The character being what it is to begin with, and then adding his own thing to it. It's just, oh my God, where are they going?
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's. I thought it was an interesting film, even if it didn't go quite into the direction I thought it was going to go. But
right.
Okay, I'll take it. And again, I get it. It's not going to be for everybody, but
correct.
I kind of find myself either not liking something or going, okay, I liked it, but I can understand why other people didn't. So this is kind of weird. It's where I'm at,
No, I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have reached that time. So what do you have coming up?
I got to look at my calendar here, actually. Later on this week, Thursday on my channel, I'm going to have some friends on. One of our friends, Sin's Corner, she's going to be on with Anthony's Horror and More and Ashley, Zombie Girl. And we're going to be talking about some of our favorite suspense mystery type movies. So kind of hitting some different genres. We did zombies a little while back, so we're going to do that. So that'll be this Thursday. And then, I think I got some more things kind of shaping up for the week after that. So some more streams. And then I've been trying to, lately I've been kind of some other events going on where I've been out of town quite a bit and haven't been able to do it as often. But Fridays I've been doing a lunch live stream to hang out and sometimes go over movies I just watched, things I picked up, or just kind of go wherever the chat goes and hang out. But those are the immediate things for right now. But I'll say I appreciate you having me on. It's always fun to hang out and talk. So really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
All right. As for me, I'm going to be going to the mystery movie tomorrow night. Um, hoping it's good. You will find out
Yep.
Tuesday night with myself and whoever had a chance to see the film,
Yep.
and we will review. Plus, also right after that, right, the Mystery Movie Night podcast, 7 p.m. Right after that, live from Sparkwood and 21, which is my Twin Peaks retrospective series, which has become a retrospective of David Lynch's career in total. We are at present covering Lost Highway. I will be joined by Aged Boomer, Netters Network, and Troy Pacelli for that program. Let's see, Thursday, I'm going to be joining Outlaw Bill for Action Theater, now back at its regular day and time, Thursday at 4:30. We are in the middle of Kai-July, and we are going to be watching Pacific Rim. So join us for that. And of course, later on that night will be my show, Coming Attractions, my chance to touch base with my loyal subscribers and channel members, let everybody know what I'm going to be up to for the next week, including, let's see, Saturday will be Action Theater Extra Dose at 3:30 p.m., where we're going to be watching the 1998 Godzilla. Right, Roland Emmerich. And let's see, Sunday will be Western Cinema Presents, and Bill and I will be watching City Slickers 2.
All right.
And right after that, probably around 7 o'clock or so, will be my next member stream. Because everybody said Sunday would be the best day. So I'm going to preempt Unscripted for a week, and we're going to do a member stream. Which, Corey, by the way, you will have access to because you were gifted a membership to my channel tonight.
I happened to see that before we got on the stream, so I'll have to check that out.
Right on. All right. So there's that, and then will be the next episode of this program, 12:05 a.m. Eastern, 11:05 Central. Guest to be determined. So everybody keep an eye on their DMs. You never know where I might pop up. All right. So that is the show for this evening. Corey, thank you very much for taking the time out to join me this evening. I want to thank everybody. Yes, that was Connie who gifted the membership.
Oh, thanks, Connie. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody who was joining us on X and the Green Machine Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. So thank you to everybody in the chat as well, including Connie, Troy and Netter, Tim, Enigma Severus, Daniel, John Doe Juggalo, Maria, the Mangerino Adventures, Mark Melnikoff, our resident Klingon, Sashi was here, Usarn G, and let's see, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips, and I know I'm missing somebody. Yes, Papa Gas, Jane Doe Letty, and JPRPH1. Okay, I think that was everybody. If I missed anyone, many apologies. You may stick me with spears later on. All right. So, Corey, any final words before we close it out?
No, I'll just say real quickly again, thank you very much. It's always fun to hang out, and I appreciate everybody jumping in the chat. We had a great group going on here tonight.
Yes, we did.
It's always nice. It's fun to. That's why we do these live streams, right? You know, you get that interaction with people jumping in there, and they get to interact with us too. So it was a fun night. It's crazy how fast it goes by. It seems like it's fun to sit and talk to you as well, but it's fun to see how the names pop in, and especially when you get some regular friends that pop in. It's always good to see them come back in, say hi, and throw some questions out.
Indeed. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for this evening. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to get cosmic. All right, I have received a message from YouTube. They said we would prefer that show hosts not talk about touching themselves so much. Right. I will endeavor to not do so in the future.
So, goals to work towards, right?
Squad goals.
Yep.
From HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win. There's going to be a video coming up soon that has birds in it. I like it.